Okay, so imagine this. You're walking through, say, a busy street in Tokyo, maybe Osaka, sometime around now, May 2025, and you see these like huge lines outside a store.
Right.
Not for the latest tech gadget, not for some limited anime drop, but for Onitsuka Tiger shoes.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you notice who's mostly in that line.
Exactly. It's packed with tourists, but then you look around and, well, you don't see quite the same buzz from Japanese locals queuing up. It's a real contrast.
It is, and that's exactly what we're digging into today. We want to understand why Onitsuka Tiger is such a massive draw for international visitors right now, as of early May 2025, but maybe holds a different status for people living in Japan.
Yeah, what's going on there? We've been looking through recent news, social media, trying to piece together this difference in perception.
Our sort of mission, if you like, is to unpack that. What does it tell us about branding, maybe cultural appreciation, how global markets work?
Totally. It feels like there's a bigger story here about perception, about what makes something special. So, okay, let's start at the beginning. Where did Onitsuka Tiger even come from?
Right, well, it goes back quite a way, actually. Founded in 1949, Kihachiro Onitsuka.
49. Okay.
And the initial focus was very much on sports shoes, specifically basketball shoes to start with.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they grew pretty quickly within Japan. By 1955, they were in something like 500 sports shops across the country.
Wow. Okay. So a strong domestic start.
Definitely. But then the 1960s, that was a key moment for going international. They started working with Blue Ribbon Sports.
Ah, the company that became Nike.
That's the one. That partnership was really crucial for getting them noticed outside Japan. Their designs started getting international recognition.
So they had this early international link, but it wasn't just a straight path up from there, was it?
No, not exactly. There was a big change in 1977. They merged with a couple of other companies to form ASICS.
Right. A6. Most people know that name.
Exactly. And for a while, the Onitsuka Tiger brand itself wasn't really front and center. It sort of faded a bit.
Oh,
But then, fast forward to 2002. They brought it back, revived it, but this time positioned more as a fashion brand.
okay. The retro angle.
Precisely. And interestingly, it really took off in Europe first. There was this big retro sneaker trend happening, and Onitsuka Tiger just fit perfectly into that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So for tourists coming now, that history, the sports origin, the cool retro revival, it all adds up to this idea of an iconic Japanese brand, right?
Absolutely. It builds that narrative.
Yeah.
And you can't forget the pop culture moments either.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, the big one is probably Uma Thurman in Kill Bill.
Oh, of course, the yellow Tai Chi sneakers.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
That image just cemented them, like globally as a fashion statement. It became instantly recognizable.
And that definitely fuels that tourist desire, doesn't it? Like,
Mhm.
I'm in Japan, I need to get the cool Japanese sneakers. It's part of the cultural experience package.
It really is. That visual association is incredibly strong for an international audience. So that's the background, the sort of iconic status. But why the huge queues now in 2025? A big piece of that is their In Taipan Made series.
Ah, yes. The whole made in Japan thing. That always seems to have a special appeal.
It really does. It taps into this idea of superior Japanese craftsmanship, tradition, quality. For a tourist, buying in Nippon-made pair isn't just buying shoes.
It's like buying a souvenir, but a really high quality, usable one, a piece of Japanese craftsmanship.
Exactly. Models like the Mexico 66 Deluxe, the Slip-On Deluxe, they emphasize the detailed work, the materials. It feels premium, authentic.
And wasn't there a big store opening recently? That seems to be generating buzz too.
Yeah, the Onitsuka Tiger Omotesando Yellow Concept Store opened just at the end of April 2025.
Okay, Omotesando, that's a pretty trendy area in Tokyo.
Very. And the store itself is designed to be an experience. It's meant to combine, traditional Japanese aesthetics with Tokyo's modern avant-garde vibe.
So more than just a shop.
Definitely. They showcase limited editions, items straight from Milan Fashion Week collections.
Milan Fashion Week. Wow, so really positioning themselves high-end fashion.
Right. And the third floor apparently has heritage styles, but with a modern twist. It feels curated specifically for that visitor wanting something special, something beyond the ordinary.
And people are talking about it online.
Oh yeah, lots of positive buzz on X, posts celebrating the opening. It clearly tapped into that tourist interest.
Plus, we should probably mention the price factor for tourists, right?
Absolutely crucial. With currency exchange rates being what they are, plus the possibility of discounts at outlets, and importantly, the tax exemptions.
Tax-free shopping. Always a bonus.
It can make the price point significantly more attractive for someone visiting compared to buying them back home, or compared to how a local perceives the price.
You even see guides online, don't you? Like, where to buy cheap Onitsuka tigers in Japan.
Exactly. Resources aim squarely at tourists looking for those deals.
Yeah.
So you combine the icon status, the made in Japan appeal, the unique store experiences, and a potentially better price.
And you get long queues of tourists. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay, so the pull for tourists is clear. What about the marketing? Is the company deliberately targeting them?
It certainly looks that way. Their strategy seems heavily weighted towards the international market.
Mm,
Even going back to 2013, they had this Craft of Movement campaign.
I vaguely remember that.
It used very contemporary Japanese design,
Mm,
felt like it was aiming squarely at global fashion watchers,
yeah.
fashionistas.
Right.
And the strategy they talked about more recently, in March 2025, was all about innovation,
Hmm.
targeting niche markets, getting attention through global fashion shows, high-profile collaborations.
Make that one with Wolford.
Exactly, the capsule collection with Wolford. That generates buzz in international fashion circles.
But maybe doesn't resonate quite as much within Japan itself, is the idea?
That seems to be the disconnect. We saw those posts on X from Japanese users, genuinely surprised by the queues, saying things like, the stores are crowded with foreign tourists.
Implying not so crowded with us locals.
Pretty much. It suggests the main marketing push, the hype, isn't really hitting the domestic audience in the same way. It lacks that same, maybe, relevance or exclusivity for them.
So for Japanese consumers, Onitsuka Tiger might just be, well, an everyday brand, not something you'd necessarily queue up for.
That seems to be the perception. It's familiar, it's been around. It doesn't have that same special experience purchase feel that it seems to hold for visitors.
Yeah, I saw some comments mentioning the Ginza and Shinjuku stores just being packed with tourists, but, implying the locals aren't rushing there.
Right. And fashion preferences could play a role too, of course. Japanese consumers have tons of choices, domestic and international brands. Maybe Onitsuka Tiger just isn't the its brand for them right now.
And the economic side flips too, doesn't it? What feels like a deal for a tourist because of the exchange rate?
Might just feel like a standard or even slightly expensive pair of shoes for someone earning yen and living in Japan.
Especially since those tourist discounts and tax-free perks don't apply to residents?
Exactly. That difference in perceived value is likely a pretty significant factor in why you see tourists queuing and locals maybe walking by.
Okay, and what about social media's role in all this? It drives so much these days.
Oh, massively. It acts as a huge amplifier, especially for that international buzz. Take the Spring-Summer 2025 collection reveal.
What happened there?
They had global celebrities attend the fashion show, like Momo from Twice, the Japanese actor Hayato Isomura. That kind of thing creates a lot of talk online, on X, other platforms.
It generates hype, makes it seem like the thing to check out.
Precisely. So for a tourist who follows fashion or pop culture, it adds another layer of incentive. I want to go see what the fuss is about, experience the latest trend.
But again, for someone local, that global fashion moment, maybe it's cool, but does it directly impact their daily life or what shoes they need? Probably less so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It might feel a bit removed from their everyday reality. It's a high-profile event, sure, but maybe not a compelling reason to go battle crowds at a store.
Yeah, speaking of crowds, didn't we see posts from Japanese users saying they were deliberately avoiding those spots?
Yes, there was one comment about planning to stay away from the crowded tourist areas, presumably including these popular stores, until after Golden Week was over.
Which tells you something right there. Locals are actively trying to avoid the scene that tourists are queuing up for.
It highlights that fundamental difference in perspective perfectly.
Okay, so let's try and summarize this. The core difference seems to be tourists see Onitsuka Tiger as this iconic, special Japanese experience. It's the history, the craft, the cool factor, maybe the price.
Right.
Worth waiting for.
It's an event purchase, almost.
Whereas for many Japanese people, it's more like a familiar, everyday brand. Good quality, sure, but not necessarily something extraordinary that justifies navigating huge tourist crowds.
Precisely. Different purchase motives, fueled by very different marketing influences, cultural perceptions, and economic realities.
It's fascinating how a single brand can occupy such different spaces in people's minds depending on where they're standing. This whole Onitsuka Tiger situation really shows how global status and local perception can diverge.
It really does. That historical story lands differently, the marketing targets specific desires, and the price feels different. It's a perfect storm for creating these two separate realities around the same product.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, it leaves you with some interesting things to think about, doesn't it? What does this really tell us about the sheer power of branding and about that allure of the foreign, even when it's a foreign perspective on your own culture?
Yeah, how an outside gaze can almost reshape the meaning of something.
Exactly, and just how dramatically different the perception of one single product can be across various audiences. It makes you wonder, could the same dynamic apply to other brands you see, or maybe other cultural products you encounter when traveling, or even at home? Definitely something to ponder the next time you see one of those surprisingly long queues.